We have all been dreading dramatic images out of Minnesota where part of that house that we've been monitoring for days was swept away by intense floodwaters overpowering the Rapidan Dam. The land around it is still being eroded as we speak. I'm Gadi Schwartz, and this is Stay Tuned Now. And the situation around the Rapidan Dam is evolving by the minute, as is the heavy flooding that continues to strip away land, putting even more homes and businesses at risk. As for that dam itself, people in the community are still bracing for it to fail at any moment since officials first rang the alarm on Monday, and we are seeing destructive flooding across the Midwest. Right now, 24 rivers are still in major flood stages, with more storms expected tomorrow. People in already hard-hit areas like Iowa and South Dakota are preparing for the worst. Meanwhile, across the country, more severe weather. In Oregon, a wildfire is growing rapidly, triggering evacuations and knocking out power to thousands. In Oklahoma, overnight storms and a reported tornado left widespread damage. We're talking ripping up buildings and downing power lines. And the sweltering heat we have been telling you about for weeks stopped an outdoor high school graduation earlier today in New York after 3 people had to be treated for heat exhaustion. A lot of ground to cover tonight. NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns is standing by with the forecast. Jesse Kirsch is out in South Dakota. But first, let's go to NBC News correspondent Adrian Broadus in Minnesota with the latest on the Rapidan Dam there. What can you tell us, Adrian?
Minute by minute, the landscape here crumbling. This Minnesota home swallowed by rushing floodwaters. So were the playground and the bench where we spoke with the owners of that house just yesterday. Now, all washed away, the dramatic changes in this community visible from above. Residents gathering today to take in the destruction.
This is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Adrian, that's a dramatic backdrop.
And the spot I was standing in 24 hours ago, also gone today. Across the Midwest, many landscapes have been forever changed and infrastructure destroyed. In South Dakota, residents forced to evacuate during this week's flood are still waiting to return to unrecognizable neighborhoods.
It was insane. It sounded like a war zone out there.
In Sioux City, Iowa, neighborhoods still look like lakes. Still, while Mother Nature is at her worst, communities in crisis finding the best in each other.
I hope we get better, and I hope people will chip in and help this place.
The watercress in some areas already exceeding levels not seen in nearly 3 decades, even as the region braces for more heavy rain, threatening already swollen rivers to rise again. Back to you.
Adrian, thank you. Let's turn now to NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch in North Sioux City, South Dakota. Jesse, the damage we're seeing in South Dakota, it's extensive. Like, what's the latest on people getting access to their homes there?
Yeah, and God, I want to show you one of the destroyed properties right behind us here. We're on the edge of a lake here, and you can see that building is caved in. The roof partially collapsed there, and if you take a look at the ground, you can also see that the grass, the lawn, is also caving in, sinking below ground level. So it just gives you an idea of the aftermath here. We've met some people, some who have been able to go back to see what remains, others who have not. One woman says she was able to go back in her home, saw mud, smell, and said that some of her family heirlooms are lost. We also spoke with a gentleman who is still trying to get back into his home. Here's part of what we heard today. What is it like to be going the better part of a week, still not knowing?
Scary. There's a lot of things, emotional. I mean, personal things that I have, stuff that is financially. There's a lot of valuables in there, and there's a lot of emotional values in there, and I can't get to it, and I don't know if it's safe. I don't know if it's there. I'm hoping it is, but I have no idea.
And that gentleman says that he and someone else in the neighborhood helped residents, their neighbors, to escape as this was all unfolding. And what we've heard from multiple people here is how quickly, Gadi, the waters were moving in, how quickly they were rising in the area, and also people feeling like they weren't given the heads up that they needed in some cases to be able to get out here because of how quickly this was all unfolding, and it was something that they were not necessarily expecting to reach this kind of catastrophic level, Gadi.
Yeah, seeing some of these drone images, it almost looks like the streets are turning into canyons in a lot of parts there. I know that there's some more rain expected in the Midwest tomorrow. How much more damage could that bring?
Yeah, and we're looking at the possibility of rain here in this community tomorrow as well. And I'm just checking again, Gadi, because we're looking at NOAA's website and just looking at the river levels here in this area. And I can tell you that we've gone from major flood stage to moderate flood stage here. So the water has dropped multiple feet from what I'm looking at in the latest information we have here. Again, we'll be looking to see how much rain we get in this area. And, of course, there are other communities bracing for the possibility of flooding in Missouri. The governor there extending a state of emergency declaration so that they are prepared for possible flooding ahead. So multiple communities still very much in the thick of this rough weather stretch, Gadi.
Jesse, thank you for that report. Let's bring in NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns. Bill, I know you're monitoring all of this. We're hearing there's a ground stop for all New York City airports right now because of thunderstorms. What are conditions looking like?
Yeah, it was a hot, humid day. We knew this line of storms would be approaching the I-95 corridor. We didn't know who would get hit, but it looks like the New York City is primed for these storms in roughly about a half hour from now. So we have two severe thunderstorm watches, one's from Pittsburgh to Charleston. The other one includes Philadelphia, New York City, up towards Hartford. And this line of storms that race from Pennsylvania into New Jersey is the area of concern. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible with this. That's obviously the reason for the ground stop at all the airports. They'll wait for this to blow on through. We have a severe thunderstorm warning here from about southern New York all the way down, including portions here of New York City, including Staten Island. There's 4 million people in this severe thunderstorm warning, so a lot of people have their phones going off. The strongest storm is in Bridgewater, New Jersey. That's going to be crossing. That may head straight for Manhattan here, so we're going to have to watch that over the next half hour just to see if those strong winds make it in and just how many people lose power. Tomorrow, we turn our attention back to the plains. This is the next storm system coming in. It's now today in the Pacific Northwest. It'll be into the plains on Thursday. Then on Friday, it heads over the flood zone, unfortunately. Thunderstorms are possible, Gadi.
Thunderstorms are possible. Do you know how much rain they could get? Because some of these places, you know, those rivers are already breaching.
Right, and we still have a couple of rivers that are at crest, and they're going to take a while to go down. So I don't think we're going to get enough heavy rain, not like the past weekend. But with thunderstorms, you can get a quick 2-3 inches in an hour or two. So here's all our current flood gauges. The areas in the purple and red, that's where the river levels are the highest right now. The purple is where it's really high. So we still have Minneapolis. This is the Minnesota River here. And numerous areas south of Sioux Falls and north of Sioux City there have still a lot of rivers. So this is the rainfall forecast for that next event. This is going to be Thursday night and through the day on Friday. And a couple spots have a chance of getting about an inch of rain out of this. Thunderstorms are hit and miss. We don't know exactly where they're going to hit, but that could be problematic and could make things a little bit worse. And as far as our extremes go, God, we were watching well above average conditions here for about 80% of the country. We have near record June temperatures. I know you showed those pictures of those fires, and you know, spots like Las Vegas, Phoenix, El Paso, Reno, Del Rio, and Baton Rouge, numerous places are on pace for their hottest June ever. You know, it shouldn't be a big surprise that our fire season is off to a fast start.
Yeah, no surprise at all. Bill Cairns, thank you. And a big bust on a motorcycle gang just went down here in California. It looks like the entire chapter of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club out in Bakersfield has been arrested as part of this investigation into kidnapping, robbery, and assault. We're told at least 6 Hells Angels were taken into custody, along with all kinds of guns and ammo. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky, who has more. So, Morgan, what happened here? What led to these arrests?
Yeah, Gadi, what's so interesting about this investigation is right now, because so many of the details are behind these sealed indictments, the only thing that investigators are willing to share right now is this was the result of a lengthy investigation involving months and collaboration between local, state, and federal law enforcement officials. Some of the crimes here, Gadi, include kidnapping, robbery, making criminal threats, false imprisonment, assault with a firearm, participation in a criminal street gang, criminal conspiracy, intimidating a witness or victim, and rounding it out, elder abuse here. So you have a litany of alleged crimes, Gadi, and we've learned 7 of the suspects, or one of the 7, was already in custody as a result of this. But again, what precipitated to lead investigators to move in on these men when they did is still unknown right now.
That is a series of charges there. And when you're looking at possible jail time, I mean, how much are we looking at?
So because we're dealing with potential state charges here and federal charges as well, it's a bit of a moving target. We know when it comes to state charges, maximum could be anywhere from 15 years in state prison to potential life in prison as well. You throw federal charges on top of that, things could get even more serious, although right now federal investigators have not issued or mentioned that they're going to be pursuing federal charges. Because of their clear involvement here with the ATF issuing a statement recently, you can only anticipate that there may be more to come here. As for the impact, Gadi, that this creates on not just the Hells Angels, but other motorcycle gangs or groups in California or across the nation, important to note here that federal investigators have been keeping an eye on these groups for decades, and the DOJ specifically calls them outlaw motorcycle gangs. And they say that they have 300 active groups in the country right now. These members could be a few dozen to thousands of members, and they've been linked to everything from drug smuggling to weapons trafficking and violent crime because they can oftentimes, Gadi, work with groups that are in other countries. We're talking about groups that have transnational kind of impact here. And so the threat isn't solely domestic, but global as well.
It's so interesting that they call them an outlaw motorcycle gang, and yet other countries call them like an organized crime syndicate.
Correct.
Fascinating stuff. Morgan,
absolutely.
Thank you. And the stage is set over in Atlanta for that face-off between President Biden and former President Trump. The last time we saw these two men together on stage was back in 2020, and that's when they squared off in two debates, the first kind evolving into chaos pretty fast. Do you guys remember this?
Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just want to make sure.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
God, I want to make sure.
Mr. President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that.
He doesn't want
You're a
to answer
senator.
the question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
would you answer that
because
question?
the question
you want to put
is
a lot of
the
new
question
Supreme
is
Court justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, give me a name. Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
And there's no way to tell how tomorrow is going to go, but we do know that President Biden has been trying to prep for days over at Camp David, while Trump has been on the campaign trail, alleging without proof that Biden might be on drugs. Now let's bring in NBC's Gabe Gutierrez to break it all down for us. Gabe, the last time these two men were on the debate stage together, they were 4 years younger. Biden is now 81. Trump is now 78, a year older than Biden was in those videos that we just saw. No matter what the campaigns say, I know age is definitely going to be a factor here. Are we hearing any talk of that yet?
Well, Gadi, yes, we are. Look, former President Trump and his allies are trying to make the case that President Biden, as we were talking about yesterday, that he might take performance-enhancing drugs. And today, some of his allies, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, were even making the case that he might be using energy drinks, kind of a nod to his vitality and his age. But we do that might be a difficult subject for former President Trump, as you said, Gadi, because they're very similar in age. But both campaigns, we understand they're preparing for a variety of different scenarios. President Biden's campaign, for example, is preparing for what type of Trump shows up. Is it his usual bombastic self, or is it a more disciplined Trump? It'll be interesting to see when this all unfolds tomorrow night here in Atlanta, Gadi.
Yeah, and there are so many differences between back then and now. The most recent biggest ones are probably those two criminal convictions, Trump's criminal conviction as well as Hunter Biden's criminal conviction. What kind of angle of attack can we expect to see on those?
Well, look, Gadi, from the Biden side, over the past several weeks, we have really been seeing the Biden campaign try to brand former President Trump as a convicted felon. So we expect that messaging to continue tomorrow night. With regards to former President Trump talking about the Hunter Biden conviction, we have heard some of his allies try and say that Hunter Biden got off easy. But it's open. It's interesting to note, Gadi, in the last several weeks after the Hunter Biden conviction or around the time of that trial, former President Trump actually didn't go after Hunter Biden quite that much on the addiction front, because former President Trump's brother suffered from alcoholism, so he really didn't go there. So it will be interesting to see how the former president attacks the current president, if at all, over his son. We anticipate that he might bring up the allegations of his foreign business dealings, perhaps, since Hunter Biden still has another trial in the works in the next couple of months over allegations of tax evasion. Gadi.
And Gabe, these new rules, these new debate rules, how are they different than the last time?
Well, it actually will be very different. Of course, this debate has bypassed the Commission of Presidential Debates, so there will be a lot of different rules. Chief among them, there will be no live studio audience. There will also be muted microphones, and that could come into play and try to cut down on those chaotic crosstalks. There will be muted microphones for the candidate that isn't talking, or if a candidate goes over their allotted time. That will be significant. And there will be 2 commercial breaks, which usually doesn't happen. However, campaign staff will not be able to interact with their candidate during those 2 commercial breaks, Scotty.
And lastly, what's the over-under on whether they're going to shake hands at the beginning?
That is a big question, isn't it? That's what we're all wondering. We've been asking some of the Biden team, they won't say. It might be one of those in-the-moment things. If you recall, during the last round of debates back in 2020, that was COVID, so there was no handshaking there. But back in 2016, at the time, then candidate Trump did not shake Hillary Clinton's hand. Certainly, there's been a lot of animosity between the 2 candidates on the campaign trail, especially over the last several months. So it will be interesting to see, but I suspect it'll be one of those things that'll just happen in the moment. Got it?
Yeah, we shall see. Gabe Gutierrez, thank you so much. And a reminder, the first debate between President Biden and former President Trump is being hosted by CNN, but you can watch it right here on NBC News Now tomorrow night. I'm going to be out in Arizona talking to voters, and our special coverage is going to start at 7 p.m. Meanwhile, back to that breaking news we are following out of Bolivia tonight, where military forces have attempted a coup that happened just a few hours ago. The news of the attempted takeover broke when what looked like parts of the Bolivian military took over the capital's central square. Then an armored vehicle stormed through the gates of the presidential palace. The soldiers pulled back hours later, and now the general apparently behind it has been arrested. Let's bring in NBC's David Noriega. David, that seemed like a very short coup. What happened, and does this mean that the people of Bolivia, are they not in open revolt here? What's going on?
There have been pretty big protests in the last few weeks, but the people of Bolivia are not in revolt. This seems to have been a case of a general, not just any general, the commander of the Bolivian armed forces, going a little bit too far out on a limb. He was pretty isolated in this. A number of major political figures on the Bolivian right wing, who are the sorts of people who would have, in past years, supported something like this, did not support it. The coup ended pretty dramatically. The president, Luis Arce, walked downstairs, presidential palace, walked outside, came face to face with Zúñiga, the general, and subsequently Zúñiga turned around, left the central plaza, and pulled his troops. So the big question now for the government is how much of the military was behind this and at what levels, because that's what's going to determine really what comes next.
Did this surprise people in Bolivia, or was this something that everyone saw coming over the last few weeks?
I mean, shock, yes. Surprise, maybe not so much. There was a successful coup in Bolivia just 5 years ago in 2019 that deposed the then president Evo Morales, this icon of the Latin American left. His party, the Socialist Party, is now back in power, but there is sort of a feud between Morales and the current president because Morales is trying to get back into power next year. That's made the government kind of paralyzed, incapable of dealing with a pretty acute economic crisis, which is what's been leading to these protests. The government seems safer now, but this is certainly a sign that they need to get the house in order if they don't want something like this to escalate or more things like this to happen in the near future. In the meantime, you have Latin American leaders, interestingly, pretty much only the left-wing Latin American leaders like Lula in Brazil, Petro in Colombia, Boric in Chile came out resoundingly against this.
Right.
Still kind of crickets from the rest of the region.
Interesting. Yeah. Do you think that we're going to see ripple effects through Latin America, or was this just extinguished so quickly that it seems like an isolated incident?
Again, one of the main questions is how much of the armed forces were behind this. and whether there will be some kind of, like, what are we going to see on the streets in the next few days in terms of opposition to the government and trade unions, indigenous groups, et cetera, supporting the government. It's a little early to know exactly what kind of reverberations this is going to have across the region.
Got it. David Noriega, thank you. Really appreciate your reporting. And don't go anywhere. Up next, we are getting some deja vu from the Supreme Court today. An abortion case document was leaked, and the last time that happened was during the overturning of Roe v. Wade. We're going to break it all down. And later this hour, some exclusive reporting from our friends over at CNBC. Google is testing AI facial recognition for security on their campuses. We're going to explain how it's being used. Plus, this white buffalo is as rare as it is sacred. NBC Steve Patterson will be here to explain why this little guy is being celebrated today at Yellowstone National Park.
This is a spiritual awakening, and a buffalo calf being born, according to it's a fulfillment of our prophecy. But it also that Mother Earth is sick and has a fever. It's our responsibility to take care of Mother Earth.
Hey, welcome back, and here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. A stunning twist inside of an Illinois courtroom this morning when the alleged Highland Park parade shooter seemed to change his mind on a plea deal prosecutors thought he was going to take. Now, he is facing more than 100 charges, including murder, and the deal would have put Robert Crimo in prison for life. That case is now headed for trial next year. And Homeland Security says arrests for illegal border crossings have dropped more than 40% after Biden suspended asylum processing there 3 weeks ago. Now, the latest data shows that U.S. agents have taken fewer than 2,400 migrants into custody per day over the last week, which DHS says are the lowest numbers since Biden took office. Meanwhile, immigration advocates are suing to block the Biden administration's restrictions, saying that they are putting migrants seeking protection in danger. And progressive Congressman Jamal Bowman lost his primary last night to County Executive George Latimer. This was the most expensive House primary ever, with more than $25 million in ad spending, and the defeat makes Bowman the first incumbent Democratic lawmaker to lose a primary this election. And Volkswagen says it's going to invest up to $5 billion in Rivian, an electric truck maker that struggled to make a profit. The two companies plan to collaborate on software for electric vehicles, which would be available to any of the Volkswagen brand in the next few years. An esteemed actor, Bill Cobbs, has passed away. The late actor was known for his roles in almost 200 movies and TV shows, most notably The Bodyguard, Night at the Museum, and New Jack City. He was 90 years old and just celebrated his birthday last week. In Texas, two men charged with capital murder and the death of a 12-year-old girl, both of them undocumented migrants from Venezuela. Jocelyn Nungaray's body was found in a creek last week, and the medical examiner says her cause of death was strangulation. Now, according to ICE, the two men entered the U.S. illegally 3 months ago, and they're both being held on $10 million bonds. NBC News correspondent Guad Venegas has been following this story. Such a tragedy here. Guad, how did police track these suspects down, and do we know about how they crossed into the United States in the first place?
Gadi, so if we go to the timeline of events, Jocelyn's family saw her alive for the last time on June 16th. It was the next morning that her mother contacted authorities after she was missing. It is believed that she snuck out of her apartment. We now know that from information that's come from prosecutors and detectives. So it took 3 days for authorities to capture these men. Initially, they had released images of the men. We also learned that they had arrested them, but they were initially persons of interest. Then we knew that they were suspects. So they had images from surveillance cameras from a convenience store where they say they saw the two men walking with the minor, with Jocelyn, the night that she was murdered. So detectives were able to make that arrest within 3 to 4 days. And we've been learning more details about what happened. A lot of these gruesome details. Prosecutors now saying, Gadi, that they've been able to go through the phone of one of the suspects to get more information, indicating that he was planning to leave town after he found out that his photo had been released and that authorities were looking for him. They also have one of the suspects cooperating, giving them more information about what happened. Now, we have learned from ICE that both of these men were migrants from Venezuela. They entered the country earlier this year, and after entering illegally, according to ICE, they turned themselves in, and they were released to remain in the country. Both of them had pending hearings to continue their immigration process in the United States. Now, we aren't completely sure when they arrived in Houston, but they were both living together. Detectives said that they made that arrest after they went to their apartment and they found evidence that linked them to Jocelyn's murder, Gadi.
Are we hearing anything from Jocelyn's family right now?
Gadi, the family has been very vocal from the beginning. The mother speaking to the media when they were looking for the suspects, and the grandfather also speaking to the media about how they feel. The mother of Jocelyn said she was very young when she had Jocelyn. She was a teen mother at 15, and she said her whole life she had fought for her, and she feels like she continues to fight for justice. Now, Jocelyn's grandfather has also spoken to the media. In fact, in an interview with Telemundo Network, he shared a lot of information about the way he feels with migrants arriving in the country. He said about the system, the immigration system, he made it clear that he feels like changes need to happen in the United States for the immigration system to be able to identify individuals who come into the country perhaps with a record. But he also said that he felt that a lot of the migrants coming into the U.S. were good people. He said it was important for him to make it known that some migrants are good and some migrants are bad, but he is asking the government to make changes to the immigration system to avoid something like this from happening in the future, Gadi.
A powerful request from that family, Guad Venegas. Thank you. Now, tonight, the Supreme Court is admitting someone screwed up. It accidentally posted this document on its website. Now, it might be a draft of a decision about emergency abortions in Idaho, but just as quickly as it appeared online, it was taken down. Now, we want to stress, we don't know if it is a draft decision, if it's the actual decision, or if it's nothing at all. But a spokesperson for the court confirms that whatever it was, quote, inadvertently and briefly uploaded. Now, NBC News didn't see the document, but a reporter from Bloomberg Law did and spoke to our colleagues at Meet the Press Now.
Yeah, there's a certain, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing quality to this? The court does things more or less like clockwork. And the way it's supposed to work is the Chief Justice announces the opinions from the bench, and that's when they appear on the website. This one he did not announce from the bench, and it did appear on the website.
Weird stuff. And no matter what the document turns out to be, this case has some huge implications. And here to break it down is NBC News legal analyst Angela Sinandela. Angela, so what's the crux of this abortion case? And if this posting does turn out to be legit, what does it mean for women in Idaho?
Hey there, Gadi. Yeah, this is a huge case, and it all comes down to where federal and state law conflict. So there's this federal law called EMTALA, the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act, and it actually places this affirmative obligation, meaning a requirement on any emergency room provider in this country to offer abortion access services if they believe that it is needed to stabilize the patient. But then you have states like Idaho that have extremely restrictive abortion bans, where not only do they not allow doctors to offer abortion services in cases of stabilizing a patient, but they actually criminalize that. So in this case, we were hoping that the high court was going to offer some clarity. Does the federal law or does the state law here prevail? Which one is the right one to go by? Because these doctors in states like this have a lot of questions. But according to this maybe draft, maybe final opinion, it's not really clear where they stand. So essentially, this opinion is just punting it to the future, sending it back down to the lower court, saying that we aren't even ready to hear this case. We made a mistake in even agreeing to take this case at this time, but the lower courts have to hash it out further and have more findings before we can make a decision. In terms of what it means, though, for Idaho, right now, because EMTALA has not been overturned, when federal and state law do conflict, that federal law still does prevail. So it means in Idaho, women can still be offered abortion services if needed to stabilize, Gadi.
Fascinating. And me talking about this mistake, like this is not a one-off, right? Something like this has kind of happened before. I mean, the Dobbs decision, which we saw overturn Roe v. Wade, if I remember correctly, that was leaked, right? That document turned out to be the real thing. So how does something like this happen?
So yeah, in that case, the court did acknowledge that there appeared to be some intentionality behind it. In this case, the court is saying it was more of an accident, more of like this IT error. However, I would say it is really surprising and coincidental that the only two opinions that have been leaked at all, or maybe leaked, are ones that deal with the hottest button issue of our entire generation, which is that of abortion. But in terms of how it happened, it appears most likely it's the equivalent of attaching like the wrong document in an email. And the court did that and in a split second realized their mistake, Gadi.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Now, when we did get some decisions today, right? I mean, in one of them, it does seem like that conservative majority court handed the Biden administration a big win when it comes to social media. Can you break that down for us?
Yes, we did see this case today. So this also actually involves doctors, but involves the First Amendment. So doctors who were skeptical of the vaccine during the COVID pandemic sued the Biden administration for getting involved in social media platforms and said that their First Amendment rights were violated because a federal agency was interfering in a platform of free expression. Now, the court here in a 6-3 majority written by Amy Coney Barrett didn't, again, really address the merits, but they attacked the issue of standing. And because the doctors here were asking for an injunction, and what that means is they were asking the high court to stop the Biden administration from doing something. The court says that the plaintiff then has to prove it's going to keep happening again in the future. But in this very narrow decision, Amy Coney Barrett wrote that it's unlikely these exact doctors would be facing more future restrictions based on any COVID misinformation because the Biden administration is no longer focusing on that. So as a result, they can't grant that injunction. There was also this issue, though, of causality, where they said because platforms like Facebook were already eradicating COVID misinformation before the Biden administration got involved, the plaintiffs didn't really have a suit against the administration. That's something to be taken up more with Facebook, Gadi.
Interesting. We'll see what happens as we lead up to the election. And Angela, I mean, I have to ask, like, I'm sure people that love Antique Roadshow are looking behind you and they're like, where is she right now? Because if this whole thing, if you get tired of us, I'm sure you can make $1 trillion off of whatever you have going on behind you. But is this a collection?
This is a family. I'm at family's house in California. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell your family, holy smokes.
My mother is an
invite me
antique
over
collector.
for dinner.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Tell her I would like to come over for dinner, please. Angela,
Anytime,
thank you so much
Gadi.
for joining us.
Thank you.
And coming up, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich appeared in a Russian courtroom today, and this is the first time we've seen him in a while. We're going to tell you what you need to know about the start of his espionage trial. But first, you got to see this. East Coasters are all too familiar with Interstate 95. Well, this sign might look like any other sign, but a few days ago, it looked like this. The misspelling of Central Philadelphia as a center towel. Yeah, there it is, right there. Philly got the sign viral on social media before it was fixed yesterday morning, proving not even road signs are immune from typos. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. More on Evan Gershkovich's first court appearance out in Russia in just a moment. But first, here's a quick look around the world. A cable car in Colombia broke down and crashed onto the ground, killing one person and hurting 20 others. There it is right there. It happened when one of the cars slammed into another during a ride. The car had 10 people inside when it collapsed near a station. These cable cars help people get around the city up in the mountains, and it is not clear what caused that accident. And Kenya's president is backing down on tax hikes after those massive protests across the country turned deadly. According to medics in Kenya, at least 22 people were killed in the clashes with police and protesters as they burned part of the parliament building there. And Julian Assange is back in Australia tonight. The WikiLeaks founder returned to his home country today as a free man. He pleaded guilty to publishing U.S. military secrets in a deal made with the DOJ. And Assange got credit for time served after his last court appearance on a remote island considered U.S. territory. And the State Department is saying that at least 11 Americans have died in the Muslim pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia, and that number could climb in the next few days as officials work to confirm deaths there. They are among the over 1,300 people who died from extreme heat exposure on their way to the holy gathering in Mecca. The Saudi government says many of them traveled without registration, making it hard to verify those exact numbers. And Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal reporter who was arrested in Russia more than a year ago, has appeared in a closed-door courtroom today for the start of his spying trial. And in a courtroom this morning, you could see Gershkovich looking a little different there than he has before. NBC News foreign correspondent Josh Letterman has more on what went down today and what's going to happen next.
After today's brief hearing in Yekaterinburg, we are not expecting to see Evan Gershkovich again in court for another 6 weeks until his next hearing on August 13th. But the rest of this trial is likely to play out the same way as it did today, which is in secret. That is par for the course for Russian espionage trials. No cameras, no journalists allowed into the proceedings, except for that brief photo op when the hearing started, when we saw him for the first time with his head shaved, which the Wall Street Journal says was not his choice. And so we don't know how long this trial will go on, but we likely won't know more about what is happening in that courtroom until he's potentially convicted and sentenced. We did learn, though, from prosecutors that Gershkovich is actually accused now of acting on orders from the CIA to travel to Yekaterinburg to collect secret information about a Russian tank factory. Now, both Evan and his employer say that that is completely false, that he was simply doing his job as an accredited journalist in Russia. And both the newspaper and the U.S. Embassy are describing this as a sham trial, not anything that resembles any kind of a fair and free proceeding. We're also hearing today from Evan's family talking about how extraordinarily painful this has been for them, saying the way Russia has portrayed Evan is completely unrecognizable. And we should point out, even though his family clearly hopes this won't end in a conviction, less than 1% of cases in Russia's justice system end in acquittal, and even less of them for espionage cases. And so right now, the best chance that Gershkovich has to see freedom anytime soon remains a prisoner swap. The Kremlin saying today that those kinds of discussions with the U.S. government, if they're happening at this stage, are best done in private.
Thank you so much. And coming up, indigenous tribes and the Lakota Nation are celebrating the birth of a rare white buffalo at Yellowstone National Park. And according to ancient lore, the birth of this rare calf is a blessing, but it also could be a warning for all of us. We're going to have more on that after the break, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. A super rare white buffalo was honored today in Yellowstone. We're going to tell you why in just a minute. But first, here are some of the stories happening out west that we're following. This is video out of Olympia, Washington, that shows a Tesla slamming into a new outdoor restaurant patio on Monday. The man was driving the Tesla when he hit another car, lost control, hit a telephone pole, and then smashed into the outdoor patio. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and police say they do not think that the Tesla was in self-driving mode at the time. And Marilyn Monroe's former Brentwood home is officially an L.A. historical landmark as of today. City officials voted unanimously, ending this months-long battle to save the home where the icon lived and died. The house joins a list of over 1,300 sites in L.A. that the city has named significant to its history and its culture. And over 3 dozen inmates at San Francisco's county jail are currently in isolation because of a COVID outbreak. Jail staff say they started seeing an uptick last Thursday and will be regularly testing inmates and staff moving forward. And now to a very special occasion for a very special animal, the Lakota people honoring the birth of a white buffalo in Yellowstone National Park. Take a look. This is why this is such a big deal. According to the Lakota people, the arrival of that white calf signals both a blessing and a warning to the world to take care of Mother Earth. And in a ceremony this morning, leaders doubled down on that message while singing songs, burning sage, passing on their traditions. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson, who got to see this up close. Steve, I mean, that ceremony looked so beautiful. Can you take us through the significance of that gathering?
Mind-blowing. I mean, absolutely so soul-heartening to be amongst the people who were bringing in this celebration. And that's essentially what it was, right? It was a celebration of several indigenous tribes coming together because this is such a sacred moment for them, particularly the Lakota tribe, which is right here settled next to Yellowstone National Park. And the beauty, the splendor that I'm standing in right now. It is incredibly culturally significant and exceedingly rare. The last time this happened, it was hundreds of miles away. I believe it was in Wisconsin 30 years ago. So to have this happen sort of in the wild, in Yellowstone, with black whoos, black eyes, and white fur, it signals prosperity. It signals sort of a level of strength and abundance. But as you mentioned, it's also a warning. It's like you have to pay attention to these signs in order to know that things could get better, but only if you're taking action to make sure things are better. So it serves as both, hey, we're celebrating because this is so special to us. This means so much to us. This promises a better future for us, but only if we take the reins and harness it. And that message goes for everybody in attendance, and especially to, you know, people like us, the media that was in attendance, to sort of spread the message to everybody that we should be doing more to connect to our roots, to connect to our heritage, no matter who you are, and especially to connect to Mother Nature. And that's something that the tribe is hoping that everybody sort of takes away from this. Gadi?
I got to say, Steve, I mean, you were so lucky to be there in person, seeing something so sacred up close. It sounds like, and we are very far away, but it sounds like what you're saying is things might be okay. We just have to be careful. Like, what are you feeling right now after seeing something like that?
I mean, it's interesting because, like, you know, you and I, right, like we've interviewed, I'm sure, politicians and celebrities and all sorts of people that are important and have handlers, and, you know, you're in a special place, in a special situation. And this is why, in part, we do the job that we do. But something about interviewing a Native American chief, you know, with the full headdress, and he has this sort of like aura around him. It was so incredibly special. It was like hard for me to ask questions because I wanted to be so respectful. I could, you know, I was like looking him in the eyes and having to sort of ball my fists in order to ask questions because of how special. You realize you're in somewhere that has let you in by by chance, you know, and you're just there because you're able to be there, and it's wonderful, but it's also you feel like you're in a place that you're not supposed to be. And I think the sort of the message, again, that they're trying to impart on everybody is that these special moments have so much meaning, but only if we give them meaning, and only if we feed them meaning, and only if we do that by doing the right thing. And I think they just kept hammering that over and over again. But it was amazing, Gadi. It was incredible.
You are there because you are one of the messengers. I mean, that is such a powerful thing to think about. Now, I know that tourists can sometimes act like so dumb around Yellowstone's buffalo. I'm already stressing out about all the attention that this little buffalo calf is going to get. Does the herd get extra protection? Because, like, I know you would. I totally would also sign up for that security detail. I don't know if they've got a list out there. But, like, what's the security plan?
I mean, there is none, Gadi, and that's what's so cool about this place. It's wild. That calf was born in the wild. He's somewhere out there in the wild with his mom and dad, hopefully. I mean, there's, you know, calves have a high mortality rate, but that's not the point of the ceremony. The ceremony is the birth, the fact that this white calf was born, and especially in Yellowstone, and especially of his own volition in the wild. So there is no special protection. The photographer, I spoke to him, wouldn't tell me exactly where he found him because he's worried about exactly what you're worried about, that people will flock there and they'll bother the herd and they'll get too close and they'll get hurt, which we've, of course, seen a number of times in this park. But there is no protections. You know, they are roaming out there, ranging as far as they can go and doing what bison or American buffalo do, which is grazing and raising their family. Gadi?
And living the good life. So let's just all leave that little guy alone. Let him bring good unto this world, and let's all continue to tread carefully. Steve Patterson, dude, what an incredible story. Love you, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bud.
And before we go, it is time for the future. Before we go, it is time for the future of everything. And what if your office used AI facial recognition tech to track you at work? Well, that's what it looks like it's happening at Google, where they're testing that out at one of their campuses. And then we've got this story. If you're an alien lover, thousands of records of UFO sightings, incidents, and more. It's moving to a new home in New Mexico, and you can actually go explore it for yourself if you want to. That's all coming up after the break, so stay tuned. And in tonight's Future of Everything, we're learning that Google is testing facial recognition tech to track people on their campuses. Now, the first test happening at an office near Seattle. Security cameras there are collecting facial data and comparing it to images that Google has stored from employee badges. And the goal, they say, is to identify people who could be a security risk to, quote, Google's people, products, or physical locations. Now, remember, in 2018, a woman opened fire at YouTube's office in California. She apparently targeted YouTube, which is owned by Google, because the company had blocked some of her videos. Since then, Google has proposed security changes. They've put up fences around part of its headquarters. And just this year, the company fired more than 50 workers connected to protests around a project contracted with the Israeli government. Google VP told other employees they used camera footage to identify people who they say were disruptive. Now, this new tracking plan comes as Google is right in the middle of an AI boom, and with it, new concerns about privacy around surveillance. Joining us now from San Francisco, CNBC technology reporter Jennifer Elias, who scooped the news of this plan. So, Jennifer, from what you've been able to find out, why is Google doing this?
Yeah, Gadi, I mean, some of the reasons you had just mentioned, it's an interesting moment. There are a few things happening right now. Google's at the moment filling out much more of its offices and campuses. It's also consolidating employees into fewer buildings as it downsizes its real estate. But then it also has security concerns around IP theft and at the same time pursuing more U.S. government contracts. For instance, in March, the FBI charged a Google employee for stealing AI trade secrets through his China-based company. And he was having his colleague badge him in while he was in China. So that was one thing that I think they found was a concern. Then you have ongoing layoffs over the last year, cutting off access to employees who have been there for over a decade. That's all contributed to lower morale and as well as more outspoken employees speaking out against Google's government contracts with Israel, for example.
We know security cameras are everywhere nowadays, and we know that facial recognition is used, like we use it all the time to open up our phones. Is there a chance that a lot of companies are doing this and we just don't know about it?
Yeah, there certainly is a chance. I mean, when you think about the actual phone, last year we reported that the company was using badge data to measure attendance, but the company pushed back saying it was only data in aggregate. However, sources had told me that they had HR pinging them. They didn't notice they weren't badging into the office. They weren't at their desks. And when it comes to iPhone data, that's directly on the phone and it's encrypted. You have to think about what it's like if your employer actually has this data, which is definitely a lot different.
Yeah, I got really mad at my laptop today because I got locked out, forgot my password, and I was like, you know what my face looks like, just let me in. It did not let me in. It was a huge pain. What's Google's response to this reporting here?
Yeah, so their response to us, they had a spokesperson say in an email, quote, "For many years, our security team has been testing and implementing new systems and protections to help keep our people and spaces as safe as possible." It did point to that 2018 shooting you mentioned where a woman opened fire at YouTube headquarters in San Bruno, California. Also, upon publication, the company said that it will no longer be using employee badge ID photo in this particular program going forward. So that was one change that appears to be prompted by our reporting already.
Interesting. Really appreciate your coverage of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
And tonight, when you think of aliens or UFOs, of course, you think of Roswell in my home state of New Mexico. I want you to listen to this. Out there in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, a UFO historian of sorts has spent a lifetime gathering all kinds of records related to UFOs going back decades. And now anyone who wants to can explore those records for themselves. And it's all thanks to a school district. Griffin Rushton from our Albuquerque KOB affiliate takes us inside.
How you interpret what a UFO is, is it misidentification of something prosaic? Is it alien? Is it something else? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's history.
And UFO record archivist David Marler believes that history belongs to everyone.
Whether you relegate UFOs to fact, fiction, or folklore, it's part of our history, it's part of our culture. And I feel that regardless of belief or non-belief in the subject, we need to preserve this element of our culture.
Marler built an addition onto his Rio Rancho home to house the thousands of documents he's collected over the years. Everything from declassified Project Blue Book files to newspaper clippings and even air traffic control radio recordings.
It's right out of the X-Files. I mean, it's a definite UFO or something like that.
Are all packed inside this small room.
It is essentially a traditional historical archive, albeit dedicated to a non-traditional subject.
And his collection, officially known as the National UFO Historical Record Center, is growing. Marler says more and more archivists are sending him their collections, so everything is under one roof.
It's bringing these puzzle pieces together to get a better picture of what we're dealing with regard to the UFO subject.
We visited his archive back in 2022 and saw documents detailing a UFO sighting near Socorro in 1964. Marler said there was a similar incident near Espionage, but at the time, he didn't have many documents backing it up. Now he does.
And not only are they photos of the landing site, and sketches provided by the New Mexico State Police. Contrary to the Air Force conclusion, they provided no indication that this witness was drunk. They deemed him credible, and they provided all of this additional information, which we never had access to until just recently.
Marler says there's countless connections hiding in his archive, and he's partnering with Rio Rancho Public Schools to let other researchers and everyday people take a look.
They have some open space that they would like to allocate for us to house this incredible treasure trove of history.
Marler says he will start moving his collection into 2 portable classrooms in the Rio Rancho School District later this year. And while it will be open to the public, he says you'll have to make an appointment.
Who knows what the average person might discover? What discoveries are waiting for us in these case files that we have yet to connect the dots?
The truth is out there in a Rio Rancho public school classroom. I love that. That does it for us tonight. I'm Gadi Schwartz. And another quick reminder, you can watch the coverage of the presidential debate starting at 7 p.m. tomorrow night right here on NBC News Now. We're going to be live in Arizona talking to the voters there. And we'll be back here Friday night. So until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.